Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're here today for the Netherlands Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix, Zandvoort, whatever you want to call it, the Beachland. Anyway, here we are, and we're quite a few minutes into qualifying compared to yesterday, so I do apologise. Currently, Becken 8.280, a 0.5 for Devon Young, a little way off. Now, we do see Terence in a Red Bull. He is driving for Aston, will score points for Aston. Just a little bit of an interesting situation, of course, with a rival team, teammate at least, being in Devon's pit box possibly. Hopefully that isn't a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. It'd be very unlucky if it was to be a problem. Interestingly, we've got Heischler qualifying on a hard tyre, which I don't think is supposed to happen. And we've also got, what was I going to say? Frantic on 2-lap-old softs. Zingy, these tyres, can 2 laps work?
No, definitely not. The tyre will be not only overheating, but the wear will be so significant that I don't think you'll be able to get any life or any lap time out of that tyre at the moment. I think Frantic, although it looks as though he's going for a lap right now, it doesn't seem too efficient or quick, so he may just be bringing it back up to the box after this. Going for the last run, there's only about 3 minutes left of the session. P4 at the moment for the Alfa Romeo drivers, quite good. Obviously, you got the two McLarens doing well, and Devon Young in the middle of them two. You've also got Peanuts Championship leader P6, and obviously Terence getting a podium last time out, as you said, driving a Red Bull, but of course Aston Martin driver for them.
Aston getting a very nice advantage from last weekend with the double points. Of course, only one McLaren, one Red Bull turning up to that event. Also one Red Bull turning up to this event, but both McLarens are now here and attacking in a very, very interesting way. Currently both in the top 3 they are. So it's going to be an incredibly intense battle for those guys at the top spot. We're going to go and have a quick look at Stefano once again, returning to LSI. His second race, he got a podium in the sprint race on return, which was absolutely incredible to see. Unfortunately, in the main race, didn't quite work out. A setup change didn't work out. He's got a lot of rotation through the bank sections, and that should help with to reduce kind of instability, but he seems to just struggle in that bank section.
Yeah, no, I think he just made a bit of a mistake there. You see, he got so much rotation he had to turn out of the corner halfway through it. And you can see he's backed off now. He'll probably go for another lap if he's got enough fuel. Battery's not an issue, he's on 80%, so that should be fine. But he just needs to look after the tyres, save a bit of fuel, and he'll have a lot more chance to P10 at the moment for Stefano, of course. We've seen how good he went. And Qatar, obviously having that issue in the main race, setting him back quite a few positions, but his pace was actually quite good. So I think if you can get a good qualifying, track position is important here, and whoever does get up the top can retain that for the rest of the race.
For sure, for sure. Alrighty, we are coming to the closing stages of qualifying now. Robbo's on an out lap. Lots of people are leaving the pit lane for the final time. Robbo will be the next one to settle the lap. I believe Frantic again continues on this soft tyre, which is very, very interesting. We're actually going to go on board with Jay. He is actually the next one to settle lap. Then we will watch on board with Robbo, of course. Robbo winning in Great Britain, not racing in Qatar, having a very, very, very crazy race in Belgium, having the pace to win the race at the beginning at least, but then having a bit of a strategy blunder. Although he had some interesting strategies in the past, it doesn't always work out. Now, Jay has got a couple more corners to go. Not racing this season so far. I believe they may have done a race last season potentially. I can't quite remember. But this is their first outing in the Alpine car now. DRS Home Grand Prix. What's it going to be for the final time in the session for Jay? It's going to be a 2/10 improvement. It will still be P10. A little way to get further up, but he's still giving it a good shot for sure. We're on board with Robbo now. Zingy, can you take us through the rest of this lap?
Yeah, coming off the bank, you have a lot of traction there, so you're going to get the car planted nicely. Frantic has retired, I think that's just in the pit lane, but that's fine. Bravo coming up to this fast right-hander at the end of the first sector. He is purple by 800ths of a second, flat out for the fast right-hander. Another right-hander coming up, which is also flat, and coming into the third right of the sequence. You need to brake into third gear. You want to short shift into fourth if you can. There we go, Robbo done that very well. So take a bit of a wide line on the entry, get back in on the exit. There's a Mercedes parked there somehow, I don't know what that's all about. And Robbo is now flying down towards the last sector. Very, very tricky on the tyres as you've pushed him a lot, and these corners definitely depend on traction. You can see the exit he gets there, very, very nice. And coming into the last proper corner before the banking, The very, very tough corner with DRS open, but these cars should do it with no bother. Robbo is going to come up to the line, shortest track distance he possibly can. He can cross the pit line there, and that's going to be an 8.7, which puts him still P3 at the moment, but with that improved lap time, can people behind him find a better lap?
For sure, we've got an Aston coming around the final corner. That will be the only one. Peanuts are crossing the line, and it will be not an improvement position-wise. Well, actually, no, sorry. He gets in front of Frantic, but it's only P4 behind his rivals. That's going to be one of the Red Bulls in the pit lane. Is that Devon Young? No, it's not. Devon Young will finish this qualifying session. Tom Brainer to P5. Devon Young across the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be an improvement, but it's still not enough to get Becken, who's looking to go for pole position again, showing phenomenal pace. I think he's gonna go straight into the pit lane and relax after that one. Qualifying is already over in the blink of an eye. The qualifying margins are, again, not too close, but they are pretty close. Now, Becken seems to be on a bit of an up at the moment, just having a bad luck situation with the speeding penalty, of course, in Qatar. Can he get on top of that today with the very tricky track limits? That's Becken on pole position, Devon Young in P2, Robbo in P3. That's the rest of the grid. We'll go through the race director just in case, as we will always do, and we'll see you in a bit for the race. Ready? Hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We are away. That is a brilliant, brilliant start from Becken. Devon Young looks like he might be able to slide to P2, but it's so close. As that is Robbo losing ground to Peanuts off the start. A little bit of a crazy movement made it very tricky. It's almost contact again as we go through 3 into 4. Peanuts is going to have to settle behind. They just about make it through together. Tom Brainer holds on to that P5. He's got Frantic right behind, who is very close, looking to the inside on that medium tyre, but will not give it. Eventually has to back off. Everyone else fairly close, except from Cookie Monster having an issue at the start. Not entirely sure what's happened to him there, but everyone seems to be clean so far. But Robbo's caught immediately back up to the top 3.
Oh, very congested up the front. The McLaren of Beckett getting an initial good start, but it seemed to struggle for the first sector. You had Devin Young all over the back of him, making a bit of contact. Robbo on that medium tyre, as you said, he's got so much more grip at the moment. It's Frantic making the move. It looks as though someone's made a mistake. It's Peanuts. Peanuts, the championship leader. He's going to get overtaken by Frantic after going into the gravel, going down the inside into the last corner. He can't make it stick. Now Terrence is going to have a good exit on those medium tyres, but doesn't decide to attack. Matt Merck's behind. They're not going to go for a move at the moment, but it looks so Frantic is dead set on getting this move done at the turn 1, and so is Devin Young down the inside, and he's Becken's defending his position, and it looks as though he's going side by side into 2 and 3 here. A lot of space not being given, and Devin really just launches it up the inside, and that allows Robbo to get up into P2.
Robbo's now going to be an attacking force on that medium tyre. Bit of an interesting situation. It's almost contact as they go down the hill. They're pushing. It's only lap 2 and they're pushing this much with the battery. I really don't understand how it's working, but it's working. Frantic wasn't able to get in front of Peanuts in the end despite being on that medium tyre. Still got another opportunity, but that was absolutely crazy. Devon was hoping to get in front of Becken, although Becken was fighting hard. Eventually got there, but instead it let Robbo go through. That was probably the worst possible thing to happen there for Devon. The best thing though regarding the Drivers' Championship is that he has got his main rival out of DRS for the moment. At least when it's activated, Peanuts might...
It looks as though Robbo is going to have that advantage. Oh no, there's contact! There's contact! And they're both in the wall, and that's Devin Young and Robbo out of the Grand Prix, and a safety car immediately comes out. The championship contender of Devin Young is out of the race. Peanuts is now P2, and what is going on there, Aaron?
I did not believe it. Demon dragging, and then they were just locked in, went to the wall. It didn't seem like either driver broke, which was an interesting situation to be in, just sliding across the grass. And unfortunately, that's both of them done. Paid the price. Fighting on lap 3 out of 36, and it's not gone to plan. That is the second time this season that these guys have come together and lost themselves a hell of a lot of points. In Spain, of course, they both went off from leading the race and ended up not scoring any points, still in the race at the end. But now this has gone a little bit further, and unfortunately both cars are out. That's going to allow everybody to have an opportunity to pit here. Interestingly, Becken and Peanuts have both gone for a pit stop, which I'm not entirely sure is the right call.
Yeah, I mean, the safety car's going to bring out a lot of action in the pit lane. You can see Peanuts on the hard tyre going onto the medium, and this is the same situation that happened in the F1 race a little bit later on, but Peanuts is probably going to do a double medium tyre to the end. Beckett on that medium tyre as well, looking to probably do that double as well. You can see everyone behind on the medium tyre. It's the best strategy to do at the moment, most definitely. Frantic and lead now, Terrence P2, who seems to have a lot of consistency and is able to take those tyres a long way, so he can maybe benefit from this in the long run. But for now, you need to watch out for these cars behind P7 to P11, all on new tyres. They're going to be definitely trying to push their way up the order.
They sure will. Frantic leads the way, and This is a good thing for him. Frantic has done a few races in LSI, always seemed to have problems after pretty much the opening few laps. This time, he's managed to keep it out of trouble, and now he finds himself in that P1. Terrence driving for Aston Martin in the Red Bull, which actually, now of course Devin Young is out of the race for Terrence's sake. This is phenomenal because he is an Aston Martin driver. He now just gets a free pit box to Peanuts, so not only has Peanuts now got 3 points over their rival, they've got a free pit box. They've literally, they're going to have a field day here. As long as they don't score no points, of course, themselves, they are going to be loving life. Regardless of how many points they score, they will gain a massive amount on that advantage. Even if it's 1 point, they've still got an advantage over Devin Young at this stage of the season. Now, not going in yet, we've still got a long way to go. Not many people on those hard tyres, which is interesting, and as the hard tyre runners are going to have to go into the pit lane. That is Dave Raptors getting a penalty.
Or is it speeding in the pit lane by any chance, or is it contact?
It was
it's contact with G.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see that happen. So he's... I don't know. I don't think he served that penalty, so he's still got it to his name. I assume Jay won't have any problems, but yeah, not exactly what they want. Dave Raptors will leave the pit lane now, and we'll get to double check to see if he does have that penalty still, because I think it was a bit too late that he received it. So yeah, didn't get to serve it. He's going to have to go into the pit lane again. Maybe go to a set of hards and go to the end, but I really don't know if that will be too possible.
Well, it's all just up in the air, isn't it? I mean, now the gap between Beckett and the first driver on the slower tyres will be frantic 5 positions ahead. So if anything, Dave Raptors has made this easier. I think he got maybe a bit of damage, do you reckon, if he's came into the pits and got a penalty at the same time? So that might be the issue that Dave Raptors has encountered. But a fast driver like him should be able to get up the field without any issue. Obviously, that 5 seconds will be not very good for him, but he can, if the safety car doesn't come in this lap, he should be able to get back into the pits and serve it, I'm sure, under safety car.
I think he's going to have to wait, hope for another safety car. Unfortunately, I think it's too late. We're probably going to get a late call at this stage with the distance that he is in to the rest of the field, unless it is going to be a really interesting one. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, fair enough then. We are going to go once again, so Dave Raptors has been saved by that regard, but anyway, it is what it is. Now, I was very surprised or interested to see some people might have decided to go for a pit stop. If that was the case, of course, Frantic and Terence, a little bit later into the Grand Prix, would have been able to make it to the end. It would have been incredibly hard on the tyres, but they would have been able to make it to the end on the hard tyre. It depends, of course, how many hard tyres they have available to them in that allocation that they've chosen, whether they've chosen harder or softer or medium or balanced, sorry. It's all a little bit up in the air, and that is only to a driver's discretion. They will know what they have picked, unless somebody decides to go and tell us before the race what they're going to pick. Anyway, Frantic leads the way. He's got a bit of pressure. He's got Terence behind him. Interestingly, we've got a gap with Jay and Stefania. I'm not entirely sure what's happening there, but hopefully that closes up by the time we get to the restart.
Yeah, what do you think is going to happen here? Because there's obviously people on different strategies, of course. You've got the people who've pitted. I do reckon that the people who have stayed out are unfortunately just going to get swallowed up off the start unless they've got more natural pace, which is all very close in this league. So I don't think it's going to be pace determining the order, but the tyres, it's a safety car, it will be coming this lap. I think the people behind are going to definitely reap the benefits for it, but they do need to be careful. We've seen before, haven't we? People on that fresher tyre can make contact with people on slower tyres because they don't really judge it right. So there could be a bit of issues, but I think Beckett and Peanuts have got a very good chance of doing very well, and Hayes just needs to fall behind very cleanly like he has done before.
It's all about awareness. Anyway, we've got to focus on this man. He is the man of the moment for now. Frantic leads the way with Terence to react behind. Who is going to get it? He's gone for it already. That is incredibly early. He's been cut out on the limiter. Will Terence get a better run? I don't think he will. A little bit too far back, but that was a bit of a mess. And unfortunately now, both AlphaTauris have been kind of caught by all of that, and they're side by side as they exit the first corner. The McLaren is trying to get involved. Will he send one up the inside? He won't. Will he look to the outside, then to the inside? He's going to spot an opportunity. He wants to have a look at a double maybe. He's come across a little bit too early there, my friend. You've got to be careful. He's got one AlphaTauri. Have to wait another opportunity to get the next one if he's going to try. Peanuts championship contender, of course. He needs to just try and keep it clean. Score points, no risks. No risks whatsoever. A risk taken by Heichler, interestingly. I don't really understand what's happened there. And he's trying to hold on to Tom Brainer. That's Jay Round. Luckily, no one's been called up, but it has caused Peanuts a little bit of a hesitation there.
Yeah, Peanuts diving down the inside of Jaco there into the left-hander, and he just misjudged it and hit him round, really. That's what it looked like. Unfortunately, he has lost a bit of time, not really position-wise, but no damage either. I think he should be fine to continue, but that's going to lose him a bit of time, and it's going to knock his confidence a lot. You've got Beckett, who's already up into P3 on those fresh tyres. Peanuts still needs to get past quite a few drivers, and Tom Brainer is one of them. A man to not give up, especially when it comes to the closing laps of the Grand Prix. And with these two AlphaTauris up ahead, can Beckett really pull that gap to everyone behind and solidify this win already? Or do you reckon that perhaps there's more to it than what we can see right now?
Bit of a send there from Peanuts already. He's trying to make it work. It's not going to quite work. He's going to have to use a lot of energy if he wants to get it down the straight. but he's still going to try, which I'm very surprised at around Zandvoort. These guys are burning their battery on like 8 out of 36. It's barely possible to save it for later. They are really pushing hard rather than using their tyre advantage, of course. But Tom Brainer still holds on. Now, it's not going to be easy to make any moves on these AlphaTauris because they are going to be communicating. So we'll see. I do apologise, Zingy. I completely forgotten what you just said. But Tom Brainer looking to the inside, never going to find an opportunity. It will open the door for 2 cars and 3 cars. And it's also going to be Dave Raptors looking for the move. 4 cars. 1 aggressive move and you go, try to go 1 ahead and you go 4 steps back.
Unfortunately, a bit of a mistake for Tom Brainer there. We've seen that before, and that's allowed Peanuts now up into the top 6. No battery for the Swedish driver. He's used all of it, trying to get up the inside he needs to. He's going to make a freeway, surely not. What a move down the inside for Peanuts. That's phenomenal. Late on the brakes is there, and that's him up into P4. Now he needs to charge over after Becken, and he's not got any battery, but he's got the tyre advantage over everyone behind. These lot are battling a lot. Hajnali losing the car, Tom Brainer too. These guys are having a great scrap here for P4. Peanuts with no battery, struggling against Matt Merckx, who seems to have a lot of straight line speed. With this with the harder tyre, it's going to be a bit difficult, but it looks as though he's got good straight line speed, and with that DRS now being enabled, Matt Merckx could be coming back.
That's absolutely incredible. I do not believe what I've just seen. We've seen a move from Peanuts as if he's P19 in the championship, P20, still taking the risk, but despite having every advantage to him, he wanted to get to that P4. He's still trying to fight for the win here with Becken, because Becken isn't exactly going to let him have it easy, even though they are fellow countrymen. He is still going to be fighting for that win, and Becken wants to get a win this season, of course, going into the season, trying to fight for the championship himself. We are going to get Becken challenging Terence, going for the triple overtake as well. Isn't going to immediately get there, but gets it on the secondary phase of the corner. Terence is still going to try and hold on for Aston Martin round the outside, now to the inside line. If he can hold off the switchback, that'll be phenomenal. I don't think he will. He will. He's too aggressive on the throttle. Frantic will get back through. Very, very well driven from Terence. That's perfect stuff. He's won a Grand Prix before. He's going for it again. As Matt Merckx, as you said, has got the pace. He's got a lot of cars behind him, though. He's got last season's champion as a higher tier driver right behind him. It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Matt Merckx is really trying his best here to stay in DRS. He just misses out, unfortunately. The absolute good pace of that Aston Martin is just overwhelming. It looks as though he just can't find the grip at the moment. It looks so further behind Cookie Monster and Stefanio going side by side, and it looks as though the same thing's happening with Matt Merckx and Dave Raptors on that fresher medium tyre. He's going to go around the outside, no bother, and now he's going to try and catch up to Peanuts, who's in a bit of a compromising position without that ERS. Looking further back, you can see a big train forming as we see there's Stefanio, a bit more battery than Cookie Monster. He's going to use a lot of it coming off the exit, but he can't seem to make the move at the moment. Further back, you can see people lining up, but they just can't seem to do anything at the moment. The DRS train is far too powerful.
This time around, all a little bit calmer than before, of course. We have had a shake-up. We've got Terence leading the way. Fresh tyres for Becken, though, in P2. And, of course, Frantic also on those older tyres, not making a pit stop yet. They will be going to that hard tyre later on in the race. Now, Zingy, Peanuts and Becken, they are both on that fresh tyre. They can go to the end, but will they be able to... Well, they say they will be able to go to the end. Legally, they can, but will they actually be able to make it? Maybe
No!
Dave Raptors?
There's Terence in the wall. Terence hits the wall. He loses a bit of traction. I don't know if he's got damage. He does to that front right end plate. He just lost the back end, and there's him rounds. It looks as though he's going to have to come into the pits early, get that front line changed, and he's going to be able to fit on a new set of hards to go to the end. But that's especially not what he needed when being in a battle with the 2 other teams for the Constructors' Championship.
It's absolutely tragic, and it also does mean, of course, that Becken will be able to break away, as Peanuts does not have a second man to help him here. Terence is going to have to slow down here to be able to get to the pit lane. Just about navigates it, and so does the other guys. Well, reacted by Tom Brainer as well to not have an issue. That is Hajnali going for an interesting move with the Williams just up in front, and now we've got Stefanio trying to have another go, but he will not be able to find an opportunity. Tom Brainer, though, that is going to be the Williams almost in the wall. If he was in the wall, I'm not entirely sure. Those guys both make that move. Hajnali is going to continue to try and have a go here on the Alpha AlphaTauri, and I think he might have that one this time around. But that is side by side with Frantic and Peanuts. Peanuts goes off into the wall, and he's out as well. I do not believe what I am seeing. A virtual safety car is deployed for a heavy shunt. That is the two championship contenders out of the Grand Prix. I don't understand. I do not understand. Terence Becken, the only McLaren, the only Aston Martin driver left in the race to score those points for the constructors, but the drivers is in a complete freeze this evening. I don't understand, Thingy.
Oh, it's absolutely shambolic here. I don't know what to say to that. That is just so unfortunate. I think he just lost his car from what I seen coming into the fast right-hander. He couldn't hack it and the downforce just went away from him. And it looks as though, yeah, he's just lost the car in the wall, and that's both championship contenders out of this race. From what looked like Peanuts not securing the championship but having an almost uncatchable buffer, has now resulted in Devin Young, having a chance to maybe get that back, but with only 3 rounds left after this, will it be possible at all?
Well, it's a blessing for Devon Young. It was a risk taken by Peanuts, a very big risk, of course. We have got an interesting situation. Frantic had a pretty much perfect pit window, almost, but he did get a time penalty as he entered the pit lane. Only a 3-second, interestingly, so that'll have to be looked at later on. But he spent about half the time that was in the pit lane under VSC, so he would have gained a little bit of time for that, so he might be pretty good to go to the end of this Grand Prix. Will there be anything to come from this race later on? I'm not entirely sure. I hope for his sake it will. He was lucky to avoid an incident there, of course, with Peanuts on the outside line and understeering. Luckily for Frantic, Peanuts wasn't on the inside and then understeering. Dave Raptors unleashed to P2. If he can bring these tyres to the end, Zingy, if you think, he could win this race from all the way at the back of the grid.
Yeah, if you think that, you may be a bit delusional, because those medium tyres aren't really quick. I'll be honest, in the F1 race, Aaron, you've probably seen it, in the first stint I was keeping up with Pursuit on the hard tyre, and the same goes for him keeping up with me on the medium. So after about 4 laps, they just start to go to hard pace, and they get worse and worse throughout the stint, so you can imagine how bad these medium tyres are. So you've got people like Frantic and Terence on that hard tyre, but in actuality, they actually are probably the best tyre to go onto at the moment. So these guys, although they're very far away, they're not completely in the picture for some good points, but it will be tricky. They have an advantage, but who's to say that they'll get back into this race?
It's all up in the air. It's a long old race. We've still got over half the distance to go, of course. Becken leads the way, and also wherever you finish in this race, you will score points. Just make sure you complete the distance. And of course, for the EU drivers, they get promoted 2 positions because of the higher tier drivers of Dave Raptors and Heischler. So actually, if you finish P10 as an EU driver, you actually get 8th place points. So it's pretty good for anyone in the championship. Tom Brainer looking for a bit of a move. Finally gets the job done on the AlphaTauri and moves up right behind, of course, the Ferrari. But Matt Merckx obviously not in that battle with his fellow teammate. But Stefano's still putting in some good performances on his second race from his very long sabbatical.
Yeah, I mean, Stefano is doing a good job, 14 laps on the hard tyres. He's one of the few who haven't pit in this Grand Prix, and you can see his tyres are going off. To be fair, Tom Brainer's tyres are 11 laps old, so they won't be doing much better. Of course, a couple behind the safety car will mitigate some of that wear, but at the moment, Tom Brainer in a comfortable P2 for the EU drivers. He's got the next driver behind him who's on very old hards. Cookie Monster in 4th, Frantic 5th, Matt Merckx 6th, and Terence 7th. So it's all up in the air for a podium. The 3 main drivers you'd expect to be on the podium, and obviously Becken too, most of them are out. So this opens up a massive opportunity for these drivers who can't really get on the podium to really shine through. So you need to take your opportunity. It might promote a bit more of an aggressive driving style, but if these guys can keep it controlled and keep the pace up, I reckon someone surprising could get another podium.
For sure. Now, by the time Frantic catches up to the cars in front, they'll have gone for another pit stop. Whether the tyre advantage will be enough, I'm not entirely sure. Becken, of course, is very far in front, although he has got a bit of company up with him, of course, of Dave Raptors, although he's a high-tier driver, so they shouldn't really be losing any time, maybe even gaining time if Becken is lucky. Now, Frantic, of course, I said, if there aren't any issues, he might be able to get in front of Tom Brainer here. It might be good enough for him to get that P2, maybe even P1, if everything does work out nicely. He's just got to keep his nose clean, maybe try and get that penalty appealed if he can, and I guess hope that he doesn't get another safety car or a VSC that does eventually pop out. That is Jay losing the car, it looks like, losing his wing maybe, and bringing out that VSC. Will we see a pit stop from Becken here?
Becken 12 laps on those mediums, Dave Raptors 10. It would be stupid not to put onto the tyres. Obviously, Jay coming in on those very, very worn, soft tyres. And yeah, Becken comes in, Dave Raptors follows him. There's no reason not to. He's actually hit him coming into the pit lane. Becken's got a 5 seconds, and Dave Raptors has got substantial damage to that Mercedes. He's going to put onto the soft tyres interestingly. He's going to have to change that wing as well. Tom Brainer's got a speed penalty as well. Everything's kicking off right now. Becken also had damage?
I don't think so.
That pit stop was very long. I know you had the 5 seconds, but when you get one in the pit lane, it wouldn't serve until the next pit stop. So something odd happening there. DRS now enabled as the VSC has came in. Thankfully, no drive-throughs for anyone. But now, yeah, it's all up in the air once again. These guys making contact, and that's giving Becken a 5 second time penalty. This is allowing Stefano in the lead of the Grand Prix. Cookie Monster P2. I thought I wouldn't say this in a long time, but Cookie Monster is challenging for the lead of the Grand Prix. Stefano losing the back end on the curb, and that's his 15 minutes of fame gone. Cookie Monster has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Stefano really struggling on those old hard tyres. 16 laps. You got to commend him for that. 13 laps for Cookie Monster as well. So these guys going long, waiting for the right time to pit, which could have been under that VSC for Stefano and Cookie Monster respectively, but they just didn't seem to want to pit.
Just as you think you know what's going on and it's settled down, it just completely changes. Now Frantic is the net race leader of the Grand Prix at this stage of the session. Of course, he's only got a second or 7 seconds now to the cars in front, but he does have Becken very close to the back of him. Becken will be good to go to the end. His tyres are going to be very old. Frantic's still going to be going to the end of the Grand Prix. His tyres might switch around later. I don't think he really should be fighting Becken, of course, just damage limitation, and then he might be good to go to the end. Becken, that 5 second, if we think it is what it is, as long as Becken doesn't pit, he'll be able to get that removed. That is going to be Jay moving out the way in an interesting fashion out of blue flags. It is also going to mean that Tom Brainer eventually gets there. He's got to just try and do his best, of course. Now, that is Becken back into the lead. He's now got a car, 2 cars behind him on very different strategies, with Dave Raptors doing something absolutely crazy, which just isn't going to work. So he's going to have to, I don't know, go for another pit stop at some point. At least fastest lap attempt might be on the cards. Tom Brainer isn't far away, and he's going to be on fresh tyres, so Frantic's got to try and shift his focus over to the harsh driver.
Yeah, this whole race is up in there. I have no idea what's going on there, and if I'm honest, I can't keep focused. As Frantic makes a bit of a mistake. Dave Raptors on the soft tyre is going to go for it. The DRS detection point is way before this corner. He's going to slip around the outside. I think he's not even there. That's Dave Raptors up in the P4. Those soft tyres doing very, very well for him at the moment. They will die off in the next few laps. It looks as though Frantic has got a little bit less downforce, I should say, as he was catching up to Dave Raptors without battery there. So that bodes well for him as Hyde goes up the inside of Matt Merckson in 1. Matty not going to really challenge that at the moment, and Hyde on that fresher tyre, of course, going to be much faster at the moment. Being a higher tier driver, of course, you would expect that. He's up in the P7, catching Tom Brennan next. But yeah, apart from the overtakes we've just seen, it seems very spread out, the field at the moment, with obviously the top 2 yet to pit. So yeah, it's still up in the air for anyone, isn't it, to win this Grand Prix, but we just don't know who that's going to be. Yeah,
for sure. Interesting for Matt Merckx. I don't know if you're able to make it to the end of the Grand Prix here. It's going to be a strange one. Something that you can see right now, if Terence has an ability to catch back up later and make some good progress for Aston Martin, with Aston Martin maybe making some progress, of course, in the constructors. Red Bull will not, whereas as it stands at the moment, McLaren on cue to make some absolutely massive gains in their championship, which is going to mean that when we get to those final few races of the season, season, which we are kind of already in, everything is going to be to play for in both championships. It's going to be very exciting. I really don't understand how this has all happened in the last few races of the season. It looked like the championships were kind of stabilising, but now it's all in the mix. Becken, this is phenomenal for him. He'll be able to get way in front of his teammate, well, nice and close to his teammate, and maybe catch up to the other guys. Whether it will be enough for a championship fight, I don't think so. But he can definitely give it a good shot, can't he? Now, Dave Raptors, he's just looking to try and drive his own race. Of course, that strategy is going to be incredibly difficult for him. They do both have to try and get past Stefania and Cookie Monster safely, though. That is going to be Heischler making that move on Tom Brainer, who must have had an issue there because he dropped back pretty fast.
Yeah, Tom Brainer, yeah, he was a bit closer to Frantic than what he was obviously before, and now being behind High, I think it's a big mistake he must have made, because I'm sure he was about a second or two ahead of High. So yeah, making a mistake once again as Cookie Monster finally comes into the pits. He's gonna Stefano coming into the pit, sorry, and he gets a 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately for him, that won't be removed, as it's not caused by another player pitting onto the medium tyres. He'll be going to the end of the Grand Prix. Will he emerge ahead of Terence? No, of course not. He's only 14 seconds behind. He's going to have a comfortable gap to the AlphaTauri behind. But with those fresh and medium tyres, it shouldn't be too long until Terence sees that AlphaTauri again. He is 5 seconds behind, and yeah, well, 9 lap fresh and mediums really speaks for itself, doesn't it?
It does, and you can really see that softer compound of tyres does help massively in this Grand Prix at this circuit. That is about 5 seconds now that Frantic has to the race leaders already, so it's not easy.
Oh, Terence!
Terence having issues?
He's off. Yeah, he's rode the curb, and that's him lost the position, so all that hard work he's put in to really push as hard as he could, he's now all lost it. He's back behind the guy who was trying to jump in the pit lane. That's him back down into P7, so that's unfortunate for him. He just needs to recompose himself, but with those medium tyres for Stefano, he's just going to pull away. Cookie Monster also getting a 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. He'll be going to medium tyres, and that'll be him finishing off the race. On that set, he was very quick and was able to extend the medium tyres 18 laps during that last stint, so doing 14 shouldn't be too much of an issue, and proves that maybe he's got a lot more pace in the car.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at how difficult this pit lane entry seems to be at this circuit. That being said, back in the day a few games ago, I have crashed into that pit wall by accident in the rain. F1 2020, I know it was, but it seems to be very tricky for speeding purposes, not crashing into the wall purposes. I don't really know how this has all come about, but yeah, it seems to be very, very difficult. Is there a bump on pit lane entry?
No, there's not a bump in pit lane entry. I had to think about that there for a second, but no, it's flat as like pit entry. I think it's just a 37 mile an hour rule that catches people out a lot because they don't expect it to be so slow, and then when they get to it, there's not slowed down enough, and that's why they've got the penalty. Obviously, Dave Raptor's going for the move into turn 1 on Becken, of course. A higher tier driver means that Becken will still win the race, but Dave Raptor's just kind of racing for pride at the moment. On that soft tyres, he seems to be making it work a lot more than what we've seen Jay did around this time on the soft tyres. Speaking of Jay, bit of a mistake coming out the last corner, nearly putting it in the wall. And there's Cookie Monster going for it on Terence. So Terence really not having a good time of it at the moment. Really struggling. And it looks as though maybe his race was already over.
Yep, 0 to 0, leading the race, of course, with a bit of an interesting situation and lots of drama going on. Now at the back of the pack after making that mistake, it just seems to be going downhill. Still looking at 4 points if he drops behind Jay, so he's still looking at, was that 6 points, I think, if he stays where he is now. So it's not exactly a bad day, of course. Now, Becken, he knows higher tier driver in front of him, and on a more disadvantaged strategy, he did lift off to let that move go from Dave Raptors, so he'll be able to make use of this soft pace advantage, get a bit of a slipstream train going as well. Within a couple of laps time, that soft will probably die off, so he doesn't want to spend too long behind Dave Raptors, although Dave Raptors is an exceptional driver and able to be quick in anything that he does. Now, Whether he'll be able to go for the move again or not at this point, I don't know, or if those soft tyres have maybe died off. But they haven't really lost any time being in their little train, if you like. It's an interesting situation. Heisler's made that move. The P3 now on that medium tyre. He'll be good to go to the end. Frantic is still probably going to be looking to try and make that move and maybe make a bit of a comeback later on if it's possible. But that is about, what, almost 10 seconds that he now has to that race leader that he's going to have to try and pull back when the tyres somewhat switch later.
Stefanio really catching up to his teammate here for the battle of is it P4? Yeah, it's P4 at the moment, and 5 for the AlphaTauri driver. Still be loving life at the moment, obviously not having the best results as of recent, especially in Qatar with the double issues for the team. But Stefanio seems to have a lot of pace, of course, but not much fresher tyre, as I said. But I've just watched him drive around for about half a lap, and I can see that he's actually got a good amount of raw pace at the moment. As we're speaking of pace, it looks as though Dave Raptors has not got that in abundance, as he does a little bit of a half spin, and that's him now 3 seconds behind Beckin. So the pressure on for Dave Raptors, and he's made a mistake of it.
He's going to have to make that pit stop, so he's only going to be further down the field when he comes out the pit lane making a pit stop. It's Tom Rayner. 8 old mediums. Damage, okay, I see. So also serving a penalty. So he's trying to get that done all in one go. Don't know where that damage was, if I've seen it or not, I can't quite remember. Anyway, we move on. He moves on, looking for that soft to go to the end, which will be fine. Looking to try and get the fastest lap for the EU drivers if he can.
Oh!
And that is another issue. That is Dave Raptors having more problems.
And his heart just, decided to not work anymore?
I think he's had to spin and just got overheating problems. That would make sense, maybe.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I thought maybe the first initial kind of spin happened for the tyres just dropping off completely. It looks as though he's not the same driver he was half a minute ago. I don't know what's wrong with him. Those tyres just clearly not working for him. He's a very talented driver, but with his issues that he's having at the moment, maybe he has to come into the pits. It looks as though he's going to, yeah. I mean, if you're struggling that much on a set of tyres, you probably pit. Nearly speeding into the pit lane as he does so. Onto another set of softs, which will take him to the end of the Grand Prix. Lighter fuel load, of course, means that he should not have as much tyre wear, but that's very odd to see someone like Dave Raptors have that many mistakes in one lap.
Stefanio and Matt Merckx switching positions now. That is a 13-lap-old medium tyre for Matt Merckx. It's going to be incredibly hard to manage later, but 5-lap-old medium tyres catching up to a 13-lap-old hard tyre. He's going to be rapid. Time penalty-wise, it's going to be an interesting situation, of course. So he's got a bit more hard work than he would have liked. But, yeah, 9 seconds, it's not going to be easy, but it will definitely be possible for him to catch and get another podium. No, it's not. It's not. As I speak, he's going to go off the circuit at the corner that's caught so many people out. That is going to be Cookie Monster now making that move on those fresh tyres as well. So he might be looking at that P2 after all. It's all very, very strange. These guys are still somewhat fighting. They've got to not fight if they want to get that P2. Get that podium, of course, just to get in front of Frantic. That's all they'll, Matt Merckx, that's all they'll need to do, who is just up ahead. If they do want to get that P2 and be in front with time penalties, they've got a lot to do, and they're not doing what they should be to get there.
Yeah, it looks so Stefanio going to go for the move on. Cookie Monster into turn 1 once again. The DRS and the ERS advantage used to perfection there from Stefanio, showing us all how it's done. Into turn 1, around the outside, 1 lap fresher tyres, and that is him now up into is it P3? P4? I can't keep up.
P4. P3 is Matt Merckx at the moment. P4 is Stefanio. Of course, Matt Merckx with that tyre disadvantage. I think that they'll probably switch positions here, these two, and try and shake off Cookie Monster maybe. That is a possible situation that these guys will go for, because Matt Merckx he's just not making it to the end. No chance. Surely not.
If he does, I might have to just reward him with a cookie or something, because that is absolutely incredible. Because, does the yellow flag? No, sorry, it's Jay. It's just Jay having an error mistake. It looks so Stefanio trying to go for a move on his teammate, pressurising on us unnecessarily. If they're communicating, he should know that the tyres he's on are much fresher. and seeing just how unresponsive the front AlphaTauri is, he'll go for the move here. Very, very tight between the two of them. Cuckoo Monster's going to take a bite of the action down the inside into turn 1. It looks as though it's going to be too wide between these two. No battery between them at all. Into turn 1, late braking. It's going to go round the outside to Stefano. Cookie Monster makes a bit of a mistake on exit. It looks as though Matt Merckx might try and distract Cookie Monster from Stefano, sorry. But no, you can just see there's no traction at all for him. Poor boy's got 15 lap old tyres. He can't get the traction down at all. He's done all he can for his teammate, and now he needs to go out and do the job he's supposed to do.
Believe it or not, Dave Raptors is already at this battle, and although he's P7 at the moment, he's super close to the back of P4 with those tyres. Now, there he goes for the move. I just want to say, these guys fighting, that is, again, a 10-second gap that Frantic has. They've just spent 2 laps squabbling for position, and yeah, they've probably lost P2 at this stage of the Grand Prix. I think that is going to be Frantic's to take. Yes, the tyres are going to have a lot of problems late on, but it is literally going to be his podium or P2 to lose at this stage. No questions about it. It's going to be, again, an early attempt at an overtake here on the straight. Wheel banging as they go. Very dangerous stuff. No energy. Dave Raptor's looking left and right. Doesn't know where to go. He's going to go the outside line. He's got the grip. That will be very straightforward. It's always going to be the outside line at turn 1. There is no question about it. It's going to be the outside line, maybe, for turn 3. No, doesn't quite get it. He does have a little bit of battery. He has the grip. Whether he can get close enough to have a go at turn 7, I don't think he's going to have it. He's going to let go. Let it be. Now, the disadvantage that Stefano has is a car in between himself and his little rival in this race, at least. It's going to possibly cause a bit of problems. Tom Brainer's also had another issue. That is going to be Jay getting that move in front of him. No, he's let down. We go, with Dave Raptors, who does make that move now on the exit. A drag race, though. DRS available. Not played quite too well there for Dave Raptors. The Williams driver are able to outmaster him just for a moment, but now DRS will be available again for the Mercedes, and that is going to be move done.
Yeah, definitely. Dave Raptor has more battery and more ERS, although that fuel light is blinking, which means he is marginal on fuel. This track is a fuel drinker, that's for sure. Dave Raptor's going to go around the outside. It shouldn't be too much of an issue. Cookie Monster might try and want to fight this just out of pride, but in doing so, he's left the door open for Stefano to go right up the inside of him, up into P3, and that's, yeah, I mean, going forward, and then he just made a mistake, and now he's went back 1 position, so that's just racing for you. He made a bit of a mistake and he's just allowed his rival to get right past him.
Honestly, Frantic is going to be so happy with this. I think he was probably under a bit of pressure, bit nervous, bit shaky, but no, it's not going to end up like that in the end. 2.6 seconds away from Heidler. Does have a time penalty, of course, regardless if Dave Raptors catches him. Of course, he's a high tier driver as well, so Frantic, he is still on cue for a very comfortable P2 here. Stefano and Cookie Monster maybe not realising what's on the cards. Obviously fighting Dave Raptors, maybe not realising he is a higher tier driver. So yeah, that is a lot of time lost. Still a podium, but they're going to be fighting each other for the podium instead of adding another car to the mix. And that's going to be DRS, an aggressive move again, as they keep trying to make moves way before the end of the DRS straight. On lap 31 out of 36, maybe lap 35, 36, we'll see that. That is a bit of a loss of traction, a bit of a duck on the exit, and unfortunately, a bit of contact. Looking to take different lines to get that move, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, these guys battling so hard, and they need to remember that Terrence is only 5.8 behind, catching that up ever so slowly, and if he gets a slip of the action, he could get a 3rd consecutive podium in LSI. That would be incredible from the driver from Hong Kong. He's doing so well this season to keep the consistency up, keep the pace up, and being 5.7 behind even after that mistake he had previously. He's doing well. 19 lap old hard tyres. I did say, Aaron, what did I say earlier on? That the mediums will just die off and the hards won't really have any issues. So this is all to play for with 5 laps to go, and it looks as though these guys don't realise what the bigger picture is.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of points up for grabs here. This will be a big lifeline for Aston Martin if they can make it work. It will be a tall order, that's for sure. But it might be possible. Never say never. These guys have got to behave a little bit to make sure that they secure that position now. They're still going to be fighting, though. A lot of straight line speed, it seems, which is not very usual. You don't expect to see that. A wheel bang and a push to the outside line is not going to see Stefano making it back through. These guys are fighting super hard, and it's almost game over. Almost contact. That was almost a very bad day for those guys there. It would have been a phenomenal day for Terence, but I'm sure they are very happy that they didn't do that in the end. I do have to quickly say, though, Terence isn't actually safe because he has got Matt Merckx. I guess it is a pretty big gap, but those soft tyres are going to be rapid.
No, I've got the gaps, and he's not catching fast enough. It's like 8-9 tenths a lap as these two are battling once again. Goodness, it looks so Stefano's made the move and got the DRS. A very smart play from him. Cookie Monster's going to have to use all his battery to keep up with the AlphaTauri driver. Obviously, these guys they don't have much to lose at the moment. These guys aren't too high up in the championship, are just battling for supremacy, and Terence is well, it's within that 5-second gap now. Obviously, it's going to be nip and tuck if he can actually get it. It looks so burning battery for Cookie Monster. Is it going to prevail? Has he just not got the straight line speed? DRS enabled. He's going to get very close to Stefano, who actually lost a position. A safety car is going to come out because Jay has retired from the Grand Prix. Now, this makes everything very interesting.
I do not believe it. What a plot twist. All of a sudden, time penalties are really going to make people struggle. Becken, is he going to pit? He's got such a gap. That 5 second isn't going to matter. He can make a pit stop easy. So he doesn't need to worry about that one. It will be softs to the end. Or is he going to try and maybe just stay out? Because by the time everybody else have caught up, it might be that the safety car already goes in. What are you doing, Zingy? What are you going to do?
No, you pit. There's no questions about it. I mean...
Who doesn't pit? How far back do you need to go to not pit? Not everyone can pit in this scenario.
Well, Becken can. Becken gets a 3 second for track limits into the pit lane. That will be removed, of course. It's just a bit of a bug where you cut the pit lane entry, which you're still in track limits, but yeah, it's a bit rubbish. So he come into the pits. Haj, of course, is following everyone in, so he's not a nuisance. Frantic too. Dave Raptor's well. I think everyone in the well, and I don't think there's a situation I can see where where someone stays out. It's just the gaps are too big. Dave Raptors actually stays out, but will he get P1? He's pushing the battery coming out the pit lane. Yeah, okay. Dave Raptors will get P1. Who else is not coming in? I hope that everyone does, just for the sake of it. Cookie Stefano gets another 5 second time penalty. Terence is coming into the pit lane. Will he get a 5 seconds like everyone else has? No, thankfully not. For his sake, he'll be pitting onto that fresh off tyres. I think he's got a spare set because he only done 2 runs in qualifying. So there's Terence on that new set with a lot of new people. Matt Merckx thinks, why not? He's going to stay out, gain a few positions. Cookie Monster ahead too. So a lot of people with time penalties, and this is really going to screw them over. You got 5 seconds, through 5 seconds, sorry, for Matt Merckx and Stefano. You've got a 3 seconds for Frantic, which I don't know which will be removed, and Beckens will most definitely be removed. So it throws it all up in there. You got 2 higher tier drivers, and the podium's up for grabs for anyone at this point.
We don't know. We do not know. The safety car will come in at the end of this lap, so unfortunately Tom Brainer will not be able to catch up. Dave Raptors, he's taken that risk by being on that older tyre. It's going to be an interesting one for him, of course, to get to the end of the Grand Prix, but is what it is. Becken, P2. Higher tier, current tier driver. This should be fairly straightforward with the cars directly behind him having those issues. The only people that he's got to be worried about are only just catching up to the safety car now, but they're also, they've got a lot of work to do if they do want to maybe look at a win. But yeah, I don't know who's going to get the podium. It's still Becken's race to lose here. Dave Raptors is going to go for the restart. We are having Becken to react. When is it going to go for it? He can go for it at any point, still trying to make it really late. Goes to the inside line to defend just in case. It's not going to be a question. Beckham will hold on. Will he have the traction? He has too much traction. He makes contact. Eichler's going to lead. I don't understand what's just happened. Frantic is now to P3 and in an interesting situation. I don't understand. I was going to say it might have happened. I was a little bit too late and it had already happened. Too much traction and yeah, didn't know his own strength there. Matt Merckx P4. He might have just seen what happened there and be pretty willing to try and make some good progress. Everything is to play for. Lap 35 out of 36. Frantic's diving to the inside line. Is that damage maybe for Becken?
I don't know, I can't see at the moment, not visibly, but he might have a little bit of front wing end plate damage if we see Frantic pull off a great move around the outside, but he can't get the traction down. That's Beckham back up into P1. The two Alpha Tauris watching close brief. Looks as though Terrence is also there. So coming onto the last lap of the Grand Prix, any driver here can win the Grand Prix. It's absolutely incredible. It looks as though Stefani wants to go for it on his teammate, but he can't see the bigger picture at the moment. A switchback is made by the Alpha Tauri driver. He's going to get that position on exit. Frantic is going to go for the move. Down around the outside, a bit of touching of the grass, so he needs to be careful not to mess it up into turn one. Here goes Beckham down the inside. He's going to retain the position. Terrence is up into P4. What a move from the Aston Martin driver, and he's got Frantic and Beckham right in front of him, battling for the lead.
Frantic, only a few more opportunities. Can he get the job done? He's trying to use the rest of his ERS. These guys are on equal time penalties, looking to the inside, but it's held off in the S's on the exit. He might give it a shot. He tried to give it a go here last time around, last lap. He's so close. Beckham's a bit wiser this time, going slightly defensive. Frantic's lots of traction. I think it's over. I think it might just be over. Terrence is still behind. Terrence has not got a time penalty. We'll have to see how it goes after the race for that one. Frantic throws a little attack. He still goes defensive, does Beckham. I do not believe what I'm seeing. It's going to go to this man. Heichler's going to win the Grand Prix. We're going to get Beckham coming round the final corner. On track, he'll take it. We don't know who's going to end up in front after this race. Frantic tries to give it a shot, but Terrence wins for the EU tier. What a job. Cookie Monster to P3. Beckham in P4 after all of that. And then Frantic in P5. I don't know what to say. I don't know how the time penalties are going to react. I do know that for now, our two race winners today are Heichler overall, and it is Terrence for the EU drivers at the moment. Wow. I don't know what just happened. He's gone from hero to zero to hero. Incredible.
He just pulls it. I don't want to say where he pulls it from, but he pulls it out of somewhere, that's for sure. That was an incredible drive from everyone there. The last lap, thankfully no contact was made, and what an end to the race. With Terrence, the provisional winner of the Grand Prix. P2 goes to Cookie Monster, and Beckham in P3 out of all that. Frantic 4th. Stefanio 5th. Matt Merckx 6th. Tom Brayton 7th. Dave Roberts 8th. Jay 9th. And then you got the DNFs of Peanuts, Rollo, and Devin Young, the championship contenders.
For sure. All right, we go through the race director just to make sure we get everything, and then we will go through the pit stop section, and we'll be back for a very interesting post-race interviews. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Dutch Grand Prix. That was probably one of the craziest races I've ever watched. We start the interviews with Peanuts. Now, Peanuts, that was a very, very tough race. It was looking like it was going to be a close one. Obviously, what happened, and then I don't know what your plans were. Are you still trying to win that race, or was it just a little bit of a mistake that just happened anyway?
Well, the thing is, I always there to try to win the race, but at the same time, I kind of knew I wasn't winning that one. There was no point in me taking risks. I did like the most insane double overtake of my career. I mean, it was actually insane. I sent it from so far back and got double overtake without contact. So I thought I was the man, and then I was like, okay, well then I can send it around the outside here. Really overestimating my ability and slightly, like with a few pixels, touched the grass, and it was not pretty, and then I spun.
Yeah. You say you're trying to not take risks because you didn't need to, but do you think maybe those were risks that maybe you didn't need to take? Do you think you would have got a P2 if it didn't happen, the incident?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it was so clumsy, but I felt like it was kind of wrong for Devin not getting, the chance for a championship. So, I felt like he deserved the chance, but I'm not really impressed by a lot of people's driving out there today. I mean, there was somebody I'm specifically not happy with who pretty much I felt was trying to take me out all race, where I was actually there.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it was a tough one. We've only got 3 races to go in the championship. Abu Dhabi is up next. Do you like that circuit?
Yeah, out of the 3, I think it's the one that I like the most. But the thing is, this race was not a disaster because I still got the lead. One less race for Devin to catch up to me. Not pleased though that I made such a rookie mistake is quite shocking.
Yeah.
It's quite shocking, but like I said, it's all tactical, and in the end, I want to give Devin another shot.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, there's positives and negatives to it, of course, but yeah, great effort, and thanks for the racing while you could give it to us, and we'll see you next time. Great effort.
I can ask one more question. Did you get the double overtake?
I did get the double
stream?
overtake. I did get the double.
It was sick. Yeah,
it
thanks.
Was good. It was good. It was good. All right, thank you, Pete. That's well done.
Yeah.
And we move on to Robbo. Robbo, that was a tough race. Pace again to fight at the front, but it didn't come to it. Unfortunately, out very early on in the Grand Prix.
Yeah, not really much to say, but I just thought I'd come in because why not? Quality was good, as you said. Pace was good. Qualified P3 at the start. I had a pretty good start. I was sort of alongside with Devon, but then got cut off. So I stuck P3. The tyre choice was accidental. I forgot to change to hards, but I just thought I'd make the most of it, try and be aggressive at the start. And I did. It was close battles, and going down to the corner where me and Devon DNF'd, I got the white arrow. It changed from red to white, so I thought that's fine. He's not alongside anymore, so I come across, and then the tiny contact took us both out. But I was surprised that he tried to actually stay fighting, because I was on the mediums. He was going to lose that corner anyways, because it's all about grip, and I think he was running low downforce setup especially compared to me and Beck, and he was quite fast on the straights. And yeah, that happened. I didn't watch the rest of the race, sort of just had to let it go by, but I heard it was very chaotic. So yeah.
Yep, fair enough. Well, out of all that, McLaren do gain some points in the constructors at least, so it might come to something later on. Moving on though, looking to the next race, Abu Dhabi, is that a circuit that you'll be able to do well at?
Yeah, I said yesterday in interviews, Abu Dhabi's always been a good track for me, good overtaking opportunities. I'm probably not going to be the fastest man on track. I lose time in a few corners, and I know which ones they are, but I won't say. So yeah, but I'll definitely be at the top, as always.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said. It's a shame that it went the way it did today, but thank you very much. Some crazy racing at the beginning, but hopefully it goes a bit better in Abu Dhabi. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we move on to Walker. Walker, it was a weird one. Safety cars definitely made that race very, very confusing. Did you expect the result that you got to today? Obviously, time penalties are going to be very interesting, but as it stands, you're on the podium.
Well, it came out of nowhere. I didn't really practice a lot. I was quite slow in qualifying. Even if I had gotten a proper lap, I still wouldn't have been anywhere above P7 probably.
Mhm.
And well, the race start went okay. I think I had quite a lot of luck when it came to people around me crashing out. And then somehow in the middle of the race I was P1, which was I was quite happy with that. But then I think I made a few mistakes because, well, when you're under a bit of stress, your hands and feet feel like jelly. Well, yeah. So I locked up into that one corner. But as soon as I started fighting with with Dave Raptors and this other guy G something, never mind. But that was quite nice. It was quite fun as well.
Yeah.
And somehow by the end I thought, okay, maybe P5 would be on the line because they both had penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow Dave and Becken had penalties as well, which put me to the P3. And I think if I would have had done less mistakes, I think I could have even been P2, or if I with more luck, maybe even P1.
Yeah.
But,
for sure. I will tell you right now that there were higher tier drivers in front of you before that final safety car. Now, you would have been, if you managed to beat Stefano in the AlphaTauri, you would have been P3 anyway. So, you did a very good job to be able to maintain that. So well done today. Getting a lap in the lead, or a couple of laps in the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time today, do you think maybe you've got a bit of hunger to try and go for it in Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi's not my strongest circuit, but I'll definitely try.
As long as you don't have a teammate, I'm sure you'll be fine around that circuit. You don't want to crash into them, of course. Thank you very much, Walker, and we'll see you next time. Really well done today. Great result.
Thank you.
And we move on to Becken. Becken, you got to be pretty pissed off with that safety car at the end, I bet.
Yeah, 100%. I think I was leading with like 12 seconds or something. Then entering the pit lane, I got 3 seconds. So that I'm in the middle of reporting because that has to be removed. So with that removed, I should win the race. But other than that, quality, great. The race pace, great. And yeah, I think I definitely deserved the win. I should have the win. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. It was a crazy race, but you had some epic performance today, so well done. It was great to see you back up the front. The last 2 races you've been very, very strong. Do you think you can try and get some good momentum into Abu Dhabi? Maybe try and go for a bit more of a slightly more straightforward win, bring McLaren to where they should be for the final few races of the championship, maybe have a look at the team's title?
Well, I wish I could, but unfortunately I won't be racing next week. I got some stuff to do.
Maybe next race then, Monza.
Yes, hopefully. I mean, I haven't raced much in Monza, so I don't know how good I am, but let's hope at least a podium, because that should be possible.
Yeah, that's going to be a nuts race. Well, thank you very much, Becken. It's a shame that it went the way it has so far. Maybe it will change, of course, but really good effort today. Thank you very much.
Yep, let's hope. Bye.
And we move on to Dave Raptors. Dave Raptors, obviously, starting at the back as a higher tier driver is always a bit of an unknown. The strategy was kind of all over the place, going for that safety car, or sorry, soft tyre before the safety car. Yeah, just take us through your race.
Yeah, first stint was not a little spin start, so just trying to get used to the car really, as I'd done no practice. But then, as I got used to the track, I made my way through the field quite nicely in the end, all the way up to Becken. And then there was a VSC, and I was coming into the pits, and I didn't expect Becken to brake as early as he did, because I think he had wing damage in the end, which I didn't realise he did have, which kind of ruined my strategy, because then I was so flustered that I didn't change my tyres to mediums, so I went to softs. So that's why I went to softs and not mediums, because it was a no-brainer to go mediums at that point. I then tried to just make up as much time as I could on the soft tyres, and then I pitted again for softs because I'd had a couple of mistakes on one of the laps, and was like, I may as well just pit for a fresh set of softs, try and gain as many positions as I could. And I got through 2 or 3 cars which were battling, and then I actually realised they didn't have much fuel, so I was saving towards the end of the race. And then the safety car came out. I was like, may as well risk it, because my tyres weren't too worn. I had no fresh tyres. But unfortunately, I just had a little incident with Becken at the end. But no hard feelings there. It's only reserving, and it was good fun as usual.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you gave us a good show, so thank you very much. It always is very good. Even though maybe sometimes you'll be at the back of the field, it doesn't matter what stage of the race it'll be. You're always up there later on in the Grand Prix. Whether you'll be there, of course, next week, we'll ask you about the circuit. Abu Dhabi, do you like that circuit?
Abu Dhabi's a track that can go either well or not so well for me. I think it's quite an undulating track, so on the brakes, it's quite, you got to be quite careful you don't lock up them rears. But in general, I like the few straight, lots of overtaking opportunities. So if I am there, I think I will really have a blast, as it's always a nice track to drive on.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said, and we'll see you next time. Well done today. Great effort and great racing.
Thank you very much.
And we move on to Jay. Jay, it's not the last couple of laps you wanted, but it's the last couple of laps that happened in the end. Regardless, you stayed in the race for a while. Do you think you can take some positives from that?
Well, I can hardly blame the situation for what happened. What happened, of course. Lap 7 after the safety car in turn 12, I believe. No, that was turn 10. I got tapped by Peanuts, spun around, and that was instantly from P5 to last.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite demoralizing, and after that, it's of course just driving towards the finish and making sure you do. So that immediately that makes it so that fatigue kicks in, and you start to notice that more mistakes slip in, and then things like that happen. I got oversteer out of turn 9, and that was that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, it's not the way it goes. I will say, though, Zandvoort, a very, very technical circuit. Whether you're going to race or not next weekend, Abu Dhabi, do you like that circuit over Zandvoort? Is something that maybe you would have an easier time at?
I think I might prefer Zandvoort for its turns that are quite rounded.
Right.
Which makes it easier for me to find like somewhat of a groove into them. But I definitely think I'm gonna have a look at Abu Dhabi and probably hope for a better situation there, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, thank you very much. Great to see you today, and we'll see you next time. Well done to stay in the race, of course, until it happened, but hopefully we can see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move on to Terence. Terence, as it stands, although time penalties are looking very, very strange at the moment, as it stands, you are a 2-time Grand Prix winner. You went from in the grid to P1, down to the back to P1. I don't know what happened, but can you take us through your race? That was absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it's still kind of. I don't know what happened actually. The last couple of laps. Yeah, it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And my pace is not good this race because maybe I changed setup just before the race,
Right.
and it's load of understairs.
Mm.
So I want to be fast. Uh, no one want to be slow. Yeah. So I try to use any throttles to help me turn in the car, but I do it too much.
Mhm.
That's why I get into the war and have a throwing damage. So yeah, but at the hard stand, I want some damage limitation. But yeah, I run wide again. So yeah,
Mhm.
I've of course on performance, I have no sense for a win or a podium. But the last safety car does save me. So yeah, I still need need it for constructor standing.
Yeah. Regardless of what happens with the time penalties, it's a great points position for you and Aston Martin. So really well done. Of course, driving a car that you're maybe not used to in that Red Bull, but it didn't seem to matter in the end. But yeah, if the positions do change, you're still in a very strong position. So well done on a great performance at the very end. You did what you needed to do when it mattered, and that's all that counts. So well done. Abu Dhabi, that's next up. That's an interesting circuit. It's a circuit that not many people drive too much. Do you think you can get on top of that and get another good result?
Yeah, but in strategies, I think I would help my teammates for extending his advantage in driver standings,
Mm-hmm.
because I think Abu Dhabi is a very good circuit to defend if you box earlier and do a massive undercut. So yeah, let's see what I can do.
Awesome. You continue to lead the team's championship. Well done today. Thank you very much, Terence, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Aaron.
Congratulations. Very good job. We move on to Tom Brainer. Tom, that was a very, very difficult race. One to forget, I guess.
Yeah, probably. After the three crashes right at the beginning, I probably was the second fastest guy today. Beckett was just out of the league for probably everybody. So really annoying what happened. It was like a combination of a really nervous rear end,
Mm.
a lot of problems with slower cars today, and hardware problems again,
Right.
like a screen freeze right in the middle of a turn, um, or my controller being low on battery again, like in Qatar. So that is just really, really annoying.
Mm. Do you think you know what you need to do setup wise and also hardware wise to fix those issues for the next race? And do you like that circuit? Will it be performance wise good for you?
Performance-wise, I think it's a track that suits me. A lot of smooth corners, not so heavy braking zones. With the hardware, the screen freeze shouldn't be happening on a normal turn base. And with the controller battery, I'm gonna try to load it even longer than today before the race, so that it won't happen again. And then that could put me in a better situation. But with the rear, it's gonna be very difficult because I don't know how my car behaves in Abu Dhabi yet. And it can be like I feel really good in the practice, and then just suddenly have problems with the rear like today, or having problems with the rears even in the training, and then just trying everything to correct it and possibly making it even worse for the race.
Fair enough. Well, hopefully for your sake you can get it sorted. It looks like you know what you're doing for at least a few of the issues that you're having, but yeah, tough luck today. Really, really difficult one, but there are a few races to go and you can still get some good results. You know you got the pace there. Thank you very much, Tom, and hope it goes better next time. And we move on to a very, very special interview. We go for the final time for this evening for the interviews, and the home man has managed to win his first ever league race. Congratulations, Heischler. That was
Thank you.
absolutely nuts. Of course, it's not in the F1 tier, but a league race is a league race. A win is a win. You have done it. It was not easy. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, my pace wasn't there, to be honest, if I'm gonna be honest. Becken was quicker than me. Tom was perhaps slightly quicker than me, but I'm not sure, since the moment he said he was quicker than me, I was making a lot of mistakes. So I'm not sure if he actually was. I wasn't really paying attention to that. But yeah, it was a chaotic one, really chaotic. The midfield in F1.5 is always chaotic. And the first safety car wasn't really something I would have wanted, since the hards were way better than any other tire. So that wasn't really what I wanted. But yeah, from that point I thought it's just the best way to go medium, which I did. But then I got damaged, I believe, because of the incident between Jay and Peanuts, if I remember correctly. I somehow avoided it. It only got slight damage, so that was lucky. That were some good reactions from me. And then I believe I pitted during the second virtual safety car again to the next mediums. I wasn't sure to go to the end on it, but no one pitted. And looking behind at the people I need to overtake when I pit, I was thinking maybe try to go to the end, which would have worked in the end. I think I had the best tire wear out of any. Devin helped me a bit with that, with coach engineering me. Yeah, I was not pushing it in the end, to be honest. I was saving my tires, hoping Becken would get a puncture. But then the safety car came out, and you should have heard me screaming at that point. I was so fucking happy with it. And I wasn't expecting Dave not to pit, but I actually thought it would have been a positive thing that he didn't pit for me. It would punch up the Becken into me. So that would have been positive for me, and yeah, it actually kind of happened as well at the safety car restart. That's just because of the old tires of Dave and the new tires of Becken, I would say, which gifted me the P1 position. But yeah, if I didn't have such a consistent race without any warnings, without any mistakes, to be honest, and not even practicing for it, yeah, I can be very pleased with it, I think.
Yeah, it's the best possible result, so well done. Do you think you can, if you're racing next weekend at Abu Dhabi, do you think you can maybe carry this good momentum to get a win in F1?
Abu Dhabi suits me more, so I actually do think so. It really depends as well who's racing that race, of course. If like Fla is racing, then it's going to be a lot harder. But I know I can stay, for example, with Singy and Passoon if they are ahead of me. So if it's something like today happens again, I definitely see a possibility to get a back-to-back win.
Fair enough. Well, never say never. You've had a fastest lap, you've had a pole position, you've had a podium, and now, Heischler, I can say proudly you are a Grand Prix winner. Well done. And yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. What a race we've had. Anything could have happened, and it did happen. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much again. We'll see you next weekend for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We'll see you on Tuesday for some open lobbies, so do join if you are interested. Everyone is welcome. Thank you very much again, and good night.